You're listening to the Surrendered Podcast, where we discuss marriage and parenting for women seeking to honor God through our daily lives. Welcome to the Surrendered Life Podcast. My name is Rachel, and I have my husband here with us today. If you are just newly joining us, this is a podcast trying to minister to women, talking a lot about marriage and parenting, but also just things that the Lord is speaking and teaching into my heart and life that I want to share with you guys. And so I actually got asked to do this podcast episode by some friends. So I reached out to a couple of my friends that I really value their opinion. And I just asked them, okay, what would you like to see in some of these episodes? And she actually immediately was like, I would really love it if you covered this topic. And so we're going to talk today about what to do when you and your spouse disagree on something. And it could be a big thing. Obviously, we disagree on like lots of little things. Like, what's your favorite food?
Italian food.
Okay. What's your favorite dessert?
Ice cream.
And see, like, I don't like ice cream. If I never ate ice cream again, my life would be the exact same as it is.
I'm not sure I could live without ice cream.
I know. Like, you like love it, and I don't really understand that. But I mean, a lot of people do. So, but you know, it can be like lots of little things, and you know, when you're dating, you think, oh, that's so cute, and then you get married, and you're like, no, that's wrong.
It's a little annoying,
yeah,
actually.
Yeah, it's like, you're doing that wrong, you know?
Doing that wrong.
Well, so let's kind of talk through kind of overview, and then we'll kind of dive into like a specific situation in our life right now that we're going through. So how would you say, Alex, that you kind of handle disagreements with me, like confrontation or disagreements in general?
So I never do it in public. I think there's been a few times where I've wanted to like go, oh no, and I had done that sometimes.
Me too.
But I think you know, learning you and learning how you respond to things. I think we've gotten really good about waiting till we're alone to bring up a thing, whether it's just like, hey, I didn't like the way you handled that. I didn't like the way you spoke about this thing. And so just doing it privately and not publicly and not causing a scene has been really like our biggest growth point and our biggest, probably our biggest mountain to
yeah. Cause like, haven't you been around those couples that are like fighting in front of you and it makes you feel so awkward?
It's so frustrating.
Yeah.
Because then the whole room's different.
Yeah.
It feels different. Everyone's a little on edge.
And nobody knows how to respond.
Or no one knows how to move on.
And then like somebody will try to make a joke, but you really can't move past that. So I don't know. I feel like it's so important, especially wives. I feel like I hear wives do it more, and maybe husbands do too with their friends, but don't like make jokes at each other's expense in front of people and stuff like that about your issues. Like, go and talk to them, have that conversation. Don't only talk to your best friend or your sister about your problems in your marriage. Like, they shouldn't know before your spouse does, you know?
Absolutely.
So for me, I would say, I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like I probably get my feelings hurt more than you.
That's probably true.
Yeah. And so like Alex is a pretty easygoing person. And so 7 things might have bothered me over the course of a week. And I would say you would have no idea if I didn't mention it.
No,
right?
Never.
Yeah. So obviously early on in marriage, I didn't know that. I just was like, wow, he is refusing to talk about this. But as we've been married now almost 12 years. That's not what was going on. It's not this like the men are not sitting there calculated. I'm never going to speak about it until she does. It's not a game.
Yeah. Weird shuns and side treatments. And no, honestly, I was probably thinking about anything else. I'm a huge sports fan, so I was probably thinking about the draft or
probably.
the playoffs or
So I've learned when I get my feelings hurt, I try to take it to the Lord first, even before I take it to Alex. And I'll tell you, 9 times out of 10, the Lord will soften my heart and be like, you need to let that go. Because I think the biggest lesson I continually learn in marriage is forgive quickly. forgive quickly. Like,
Mhm.
just let it go.
Yeah.
Is this a big issue? Now, don't get me wrong. There are definitely big issues that you need to talk about with your spouse. 100%.
Yeah.
But you don't have to bring up every issue. And
No.
I think that's where I've done it wrong before in the past. And I try to do that better nowadays, that I don't bring up every little hurt to you, because if I did, I think that would be like at least your personality.
Yeah.
That would be very discouraging.
I would get discouraged.
You would
Yeah.
feel like a failure.
Well, I'd be walking on eggshells, and
Yeah.
I'd always be constantly trying. 'Cause
Yeah.
I'm a pleaser, and so if I feel like I'm disappointing you, then I'm
Mhm.
going to basically make myself physically sick trying to not disappoint you.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I think for me, bringing up just the things that really bother you, or things that have to be brought up.
Yeah. And so like if I bring it up to the Lord, but it keeps nagging at my heart, or I can't move past it, like if I've got an attitude with him or a little bitterness, I know, okay, I need to bring this up.
Yeah.
And I think I learned this key from actually Pastor Derek, because he's really good at wording things.
Yeah.
From our previous church. Instead of saying, you did this, I changed my wording to, I felt like this.
Yeah.
I perceived this.
Yeah.
Instead of an attack, I kind of place it back on, this is how I felt. And I think where you have also like grown in that way too is you don't see it used to feel like an attack to you,
Mhm.
and you would then respond defensively because you were getting attacked.
Right.
And now the way I word it of, I felt this way, and I feel like you do that too, but then you can, right or wrong, this is how they felt, so you have to recognize that. Well, I'm sorry that you felt this way.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you have to say, I'm sorry, I'm 100% wrong, because that may not be the case.
Right.
But you can still acknowledge their feelings.
Definitely.
Because 9 times out of 10 for a woman, for me, I just want to be seen and heard. I'm not necessarily looking for a change in behavior every time.
Right.
I'm just looking I want you to say, I see you. I recognize that hurt your feelings, and I'm sorry that you felt that way.
I think that's the thing that I've learned the most is that you really just want to be heard and seen. And I think if I'm making an effort towards that, that also helps.
Yeah.
Brings us closer together, and it shows you that I'm trying.
Yeah.
And I think that matters a lot to you, like you specifically.
Yeah.
I think for me, I have the opposite issue that you've got. I'm so easygoing. I become very passive, and I need to work up the courage to say the thing that's bothering me.
Yeah.
And so that's where I've had to grow a lot. It's because I have a speech impediment, and I'm not very eloquent, and I don't feel like I can build a case for myself in an argument. And so, because I feel like I'll lose, so I won't bring it up.
And I'm
Even the
good
big
with
things.
words, and
Yes.
so I'm good at defending and my heart will not be to win the argument. My heart is, I want to show you why I did this, because I want you to understand my perspective.
Right.
But we've talked about this before. Sometimes you just need me to not do that, right or wrong.
Right.
You just need me to hear your complaint or your thing that's bothering you, and just say, "Oh, I'm sorry."
Yeah.
That's all you need.
Yeah. Definitely. And I think just being understanding with each other, it does help in the arguments, because we don't argue forever either.
No,
We
no.
really do say it, and then we
let it go.
move on.
Yeah.
And that means we probably do separate into different rooms for a half an hour after the argument.
Yeah.
But we definitely don't linger in the conversation. We don't dwell in the conversation.
Yeah.
Because it's not healthy for either one of us.
No.
And because because you want to bring everything up, I don't want to bring anything up.
Yeah.
It can become a very toxic
Yeah,
thing if we're
yeah,
not
yeah.
careful.
No, and I think like you have to be, and I think you said this in a previous episode too, you got to make sure you've got relational capital built up, because if you're only having these hard conversations, then you're going to quickly get to arguing.
That's a good point. I'm not sure I said that, but now's a great time to say this.
Okay, I thought you did.
we talked about it the night before, but you have to make relational deposits, because you're going to have to make a withdrawal. When you do file a complaint with somebody, what is this, corporate? When you do lodge a complaint against somebody,
Yeah.
that's a withdrawal. And withdrawals tend to be large withdrawals. Deposits are truly only small deposits.
Yeah.
And so you can't make a few small deposits and then one big withdrawal. You have to make many small deposits.
Yeah.
And how you love your spouse. Because if you have deposits, then withdrawals won't overdraft your account, so to speak.
Yeah.
And so it's really important to always make deposits, relational deposits with your spouse, because there will be days where you have to withdraw.
Yeah. And especially if you have those deposits built up, that whole belief of being for each other is still there.
Yeah,
But if you're only having negative conversations, your spouse isn't going to believe that.
definitely.
So okay. So why don't you share like what our season of life recently, what has been our disagreement lately?
Yeah, this is still kind of fresh, and so
Yeah.
we're still learning.
We're like laying it all on the table right now.
Our oldest son is 10 years old, and he might as well be 15. He's a very sweet kid. He has a really, really good heart, and he's got a mouth on him. Just to be straight up with you. He's very sweet. He's very tender. But I don't know if it's from friends, from his school or friends from his church. But he's starting to say some preteen phrases and things that most moms just don't want their kids saying. And so you work really hard on trying to police language and my
He's not walking around cussing
no,
just to
it's
clear that up.
it's preteen words,
Yeah.
Fortnite words.
Yeah.
And my immature butt is laughing under my breath because I think it's funny.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of stemmed some disagreement on how to handle him. So for context, I grew up with 3 brothers and she grew up with 2 sisters. Our worlds are very different.
Very
You said
different
this in the last
worlds,
episode.
yes.
It's like you're Venus, I'm Mars.
Yeah.
And so you're learning things that you've never even experienced
Yeah.
with having boys in the
Yeah.
house. And it's all I know. So things that aren't a huge deal to me are a big deal to you. And I didn't quite understand why it's a big deal to you
Yeah.
until we talked about it.
Yeah, so this is one of those times where it's one of those things that I went to the Lord about and it just kept nagging at me. And so I did go to Alex and was like, this is really bothering me. I feel like you're not taking this seriously. And his viewpoint is you're probably taking it too seriously. Like, so your viewpoint is probably you might need to lighten up a little bit.
Mhm.
My viewpoint is you need to tighten up a little bit. And
Yeah,
so
right.
like very opposite viewpoints of of parenting. But I tell Micah this all the time. I've never parented a 10-year-old, almost 11-year-old. I'm learning this all for the first time.
Right.
And like you said, he's a boy and I wasn't raised with brothers. And so, but something we're having to navigate is going back to the joking and funnies.
Yeah.
Me and Alex both like to be funny, but in this context, it was hurting my feelings that the joke was becoming, oh, mom's going to get mad at you if you say that. And so then I became the butt of the joke, and that hurt me because I wanted Alex to be on my side. I
Yeah,
wanted
for
Alex
sure.
to be my teammate, and I felt like he was Micah's teammate. And I was the warden, that's kind of how I started to feel. I'm the warden and they're the 2 chummies over there, besties, and I was just like, I don't know how to do this. And so I was getting bitter and just frustrated. And when I came to Alex, you had a totally different perspective.
Yeah, for sure. But I think now that once I was able to hear you, the biggest thing for me is to kind of compartmentalize a little bit. Hey, what's good-hearted funny
Mm-hmm.
and what's disrespectful,
Yeah.
and sort those out.
Yeah.
And that kind of helped me help you police while still maintaining
Yeah.
a very. I mean, I told you this that I think this is my favorite stage of Micah.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
he's old enough to have serious conversations with. He understands more, and his humor. He's funny. Like he's a
funny.
very funny kid.
Yeah.
And I'm really enjoying our relationship right now. And so, how do I preserve that
Mm-hmm.
while also being very aware that no, that's stepping on disrespectful.
Yeah.
Not just towards you, but towards his grandparents,
Anybody.
and towards anyone
Yeah,
in
yeah.
his that is over his authority.
Yeah. And so I would say, like he said, we're learning this in real time. So I can't say to you that this
We haven't figured it out
this
yet.
argument is completely over. But I have noticed, just my perspective, and you can share if you agree or disagree. My perspective is when Micah now says something that I question, I kind of look at Alex and he'll either say to Micah, hey, that's crossing a line, let's say that a different way, or he'll look at me and say, that's okay to say. And so what I'm learning in real time, and the Lord has really worked on my heart with this, just given me a lot of peace, that submitting to Alex when I don't agree is one of the most loving things I can do for our entire family. Yeah. Because if I submitted reluctantly, then the whole room is tense. And I've done that, right, before. We've definitely had those moments where, oh, we have to be on the same page in front of the kids, but everybody knew we were not on the same page.
Right.
And so I've just been asking the Lord every day just to cultivate my heart into trusting Alex. And it doesn't mean that Alex is always going to make the right decision.
No.
And it also doesn't mean, like, I hate the whole, like, submission thing and people think, oh, that means women have no choice. No, honestly, submitting to your husband is a gift because it's protection. Yeah. And I said this to you the other day, like, hey, you know, whatever we decide here, like, ultimately you're going to stand before the Lord. And that's a heavy burden. Yeah. And so wives, like, we get to be the prayer warriors. We get to be the support. But if Alex ultimately decides, I think this is okay to do, or I think this is not okay to do, my job is then to say, okay. Like, my job is not to convince him of something different because, like we've said before, I'm not your Holy Spirit. And let's just say, for argument's sake, you pick something that's wrong. I have to wait and let the Lord reveal that to you. Yeah. But
and he has before.
Absolutely. Yeah. But there's so much freedom in submitting to your decision because I don't feel the weight of it all on my shoulders.
Do you think women are designed to carry that kind of burden?
No, and I think that's why women live so stressed out when we try to be both dad and mom. Mm-hmm. You know, like when we try to be the ones to raise our kids wholly and we leave like fully, and we leave dad out of it completely. Because I've seen homes like that too, where dad can't be trusted, so I'll just do it all. Right. You know, and it's just not meant to be that way. Like, it has been very freeing to me to realize, you know, Micah is a boy, and so in order for him to be raised to be a man, I can't be his main disciplinarian. Sure. I can't be the main parent in his life. Yeah. I'm entering a role of, you know, supporting you, but I honestly get to be more of a friend to him and still a parent, but I get to be more of a friend than the main, you know, source of raising him because you're training him to become a man. Right. And so it's so important that especially our boys have that time with dad.
Correct. And time with dad's going to look different than time with mom. It's going to be funny jokes. It's going to be rough housing. It's going to be things that just feel, I don't know, maybe a little unsafe to a mother. Yeah. But that's how boys play, and that's how boys grow strong. That's how dads can assert. I can still assert my authority over Micah physically. I won't be able to forever. But it's good to know that he can roughhouse and know that he's still safe. Yeah. And it teaches him restraint. It teaches him patience. It teaches him all those things because he's also a big brother. Mm-hmm. And you know, you submitting well and me leading well is going to do well for Micah. It's also going to do well for Ruthie because Ruthie's watching her mom. Mm-hmm. You know, and Samuel's watching his dad. Mm-hmm. But I had a thought that I'm trying not to lose my train of thought. I asked you a question. Do you think women are designed to carry this load and that burden? I think men are designed for and called to carrying the kind of load that you were just talking about. Mm-hmm. And I know that because I can't carry the load that you can carry as a mother. I'm not a nurturing person. And I think you see me at my most frustrated when I'm trying to be nurturing. Yeah. And so it's funny. It's cool to see how the Lord designed us in such specific ways. Yeah. And when we're out of our roles, we're our most frustrated self. Yep. Yep. And like, we've seen that play out in many different ways. Like, and I mean, we've talked about, this is getting a little off topic, but we've talked about in different podcasts, like if you're trying to get your husband
to basically be mom, you're going to stay frustrated. Now, it doesn't mean they don't help out around the house, but they're not, it's two very different roles.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of women end up being frustrated because they're trying to do what God ordained fathers to do in the home.
Right.
Because women like control and women like order. And if the husband is not doing what they think he should be doing, we just tend to take it on.
Right.
Now, there is like, we've talked about this before, like, you do win your husband over by your example. And so, like, in our home, we tried to do a devotion together a couple of times a week.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you're not able to. And so I'll do it with the kids.
Right.
But when we're able to all be together, you lead it.
Definitely.
You know, so there's realms to do that don't lead to frustration. But I think you just have to be so careful. But at least for me in this season, I have felt so much freedom in realizing, and the Lord just revealed it to me because I didn't come to that conclusion on my own. But like the Lord was just like, rest in this submission. Lay it down. Like, your son belongs to me first and foremost.
Right.
And, you know, just spend time. I spend time praying for y'all's relationship, for Micah's heart, for our parenting to be aligned. And I think that's another important thing is like the Lord will align your hearts.
One thing that we do sometimes, and this is your initiative that does this, because you have great intuition and you have you're very perceptive, discerning, all those things. We try to get ahead of it by being united because you'll notice things and you'll bring them up. Say, hey, when this happens, what do we say? How do we parent? What do we do? And so there's been a lot of times where we're actually ahead of the curve. Like he wants a phone, and we both are pretty much agree he's not getting a phone right now.
Yeah.
But we talked about it, and we know the reasons why.
Yeah.
We know how. I mean, if you have a phone, you know how unsafe phones can be, how helpful they are, and also how much of a trap they can be.
Yeah.
And it's not good for our 10-year-old to have a phone.
No.
That's our conviction. And so there are times where we have gotten ahead of it. And a lot of that is you being discerning and having that intuition of like, all right, it's time to discuss this before he asks.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, just like getting back to the main idea here of when you and your spouse disagree. And again, I know some of you might be saying, well, my husband's not seeking the Lord through this. My husband is just wanting to, you know, make maybe a lazy decision or make an unwise decision, whatever the case may be. But I think us as wives just have to remember we nurture, we bring up our kids, we be an example to our kids, we speak life and truth into our kids and into our homes. But ultimately, the situation of the entire home rests on the dad's shoulders.
And the Lord's going to honor you.
Yes.
As the wife for doing that well, even if your husband's a bonehead and he's making boneheaded decisions.
Yeah.
The scripture is very clear that the Lord will see your faithfulness and see you submitting well and you honoring well, speaking well of Him.
Yeah.
And He will honor you for that. You may not see it immediately.
Yeah.
It may not happen when you want it to.
Yeah.
But rest assured that the Lord does see it and He will honor you.
And I think that's an important thing to say too there is like, don't speak ill about your spouse, complain about your spouse to your kids. Like they should not be your punching bag.
No.
They should not be your sounding board. They shouldn't know things. And I mean, obviously like our kids have heard us have discussions with each other, but, you know, they don't need to be involved in your marital fight.
If you want your kids to see anything, let them see you love each other.
Yeah, before your spouse.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you want your kids to respect each of you, then you need to show them that by respecting your spouse to them.
One of our dynamics that I think is very funny is that I'll definitely hug you from behind while you're in the kitchen, and it's definitely probably too much for public, but our kids will run and they'll come be part of a group hug.
Yeah.
And it's like I think our kids are very they have no idea how blessed they are. Yeah, so like, you know, I feel like I've talked to so many moms who are like, man, I want my home to be different than the home I was raised in. And I think me and you have both talked about like things that were done well, things that we did not want to be done in our home. And so there's like both and with every home. Yeah.
Everybody brings baggage to the table and you and your spouse are not going to agree 100%.
unless you were raised in the same house all of your life, which would be weird why you would be married, right? That'd be so
It's
weird.
so weird.
So that's not going to be the case. Like, you and your spouse are going to disagree. And honestly, I've also heard people say to me like, oh, me and my spouse never fight. Well, then you probably have more issues than you realize, because
Right. You're putting it all under the rug.
you're just sweeping everything and not having any confrontation. That's not the answer either. So yeah, I would just encourage you, wife, go to the Lord, ask the Lord to convict his heart, show you how to be submissive but wise, and use your role as mom well to be the example, speak life into your home, be the change you want to see in your home. But at the same time, like, don't carry the burden of your entire home, because it's not meant for you to bear.
And know that it's always going to take time.
Yeah.
In all things, if you are praying for your husband to become more aware, to become more aligned, and if you're asking the Lord to change his heart, don't get discouraged if a month into it you don't see much progress or any progress, because like anything, recovery is messy, progress is messy. It's never a straight line up.
Yeah.
It's always going to be up and down.
Yeah.
And so just ready your heart for that,
Mm-hmm.
because it won't be easy, and it won't be tomorrow.
Yeah. And parenting, like, is hard to navigate, because especially with your first kid, like we're doing, it is a bumpy road because we don't know what we're doing. And so you really need to be parenting with someone you enjoy being around. So like, I just always go back to, if you're struggling to parent together the right way, go back to pouring into your marriage. Go back to being for your spouse. Go back to letting them know you're for them.
Yeah.
Because again, if you're only having, like you said, if you're only having those hard conversations, you're not making deposits, they're going to automatically go defensive and assume you're against them. And
don't forget that your spouse is the most important person, the most important human relationship you have.
Yeah.
And if you're neglecting that, then the hard times will be very, very hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, I do definitely think there's a generation right now where a lot of parents didn't fight battles with their kids. And we're seeing a lot of people who were raised in Christian homes walk away from their faith, just walk away from their families. And so obviously we don't want that. So we do have to fight for our kids. We do have to, the enemy wants them. And so there's a real battle waging against the family unit. And it's rampant in the church and in the world, and it's everywhere. And so we do have to take that very, very seriously. But the fight starts and ends on our knees, and we have to start. We cannot win this fight in the strength of humanity. We can only win this fight supernaturally.
Definitely.
And so,
and part of that is having a good community. And so I think we mentioned in the last podcast is find people who seem like-minded, and do life with them. Find mentors who do marriage well, and don't do it alone, because if you do it alone, then you're going to find yourself in darkness. And what happens in the dark? That's where you're more prone and more tempted to sin, isolation, all those things. And so find a community of like-minded people. And we think church is a great place to find that. One of the best places to find that. And so and so if you're around that, then you're going to be inspired regularly to do it well.
And like I would say, in my community of friends, we don't all parent the same way. Like there are some things I'm okay with that they're not, and vice versa. But that's okay, because there's mutual respect there, and we know that we're all seeking to honor the Lord.
Absolutely.
So, well, thank you for coming on and talking about disagreeing with your spouse. I pray that this has been encouraging to you.
We're going to fight right after this. So
if you have like thoughts, or you have a situation specifically you'd like counselor advice on, you can always message our Instagram page or our Facebook page, The Surrendered Life. My email's on there as well, and we'd love to minister to you guys as we don't have all the answers, as we've said, but we're just walking this road of life, and just want you to know you're not alone. And that it's hard for everybody. I think sometimes people can look at staff members of church and think, well, they just always do it right. Well, I can promise you, if you've been around me for 10 minutes, you know that's not true. So I'm not sitting in this chair because we do it right. I just want my life to be something that encourages other people to pursue the Lord in their homes. So that's what we're trying to do together, and I want that for you as well. So thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me. I think you're doing a great job.
Thank you.
And you're very beautiful.
Have a great day.
You have been listening to the Surrendered Podcast. I hope today's episode was an encouragement to you. And if it spoke to you, I just want to invite you to like this message, share it, comment, and I look forward to connecting with each one of you.